Corpse Party is more than just a horror game. It is a narrative-driven masterpiece that has left an indelible mark on both the visual novel and survival horror genres. First released in 1996 as an independent RPG Maker game, its success spawned a massive franchise, expanding into manga, anime, and sequels that build upon its gruesome yet captivating world. Today, Corpse Party remains one of the most revered horror visual novels, both for its emotional depth and the spine-chilling experience it offers players. Its compelling characters, intricate story, and terrifying atmosphere have ensured its place as a staple in horror gaming, one whose influence still echoes in modern titles even today. The legacy of Corpse Party is largely defined by its commitment to blending visceral horror with narrative complexity. Unlike many games that rely solely on jump scares or gore, Corpse Party immerses the player in a rich, character-driven world. The fear stems not just from the terrifying entities that haunt the halls of Heavenly Host Elementary, but also from the emotional weight of the characters' struggles. The game expertly balances moments of tenderness and terror, weaving together a story that lingers long after the screen goes dark. In this video, I will delve into the various elements that have cemented Corpse Party as a legendary visual novel, from the game's humble origins, its masterful storytelling, the atmospheric tension it creates, to its unforgettable blend of psychological horror and gore. Furthermore, I'll also examine how this game's strong characterization contributes to its emotional impact and discuss its enduring legacy in the world of horror, both as a survival horror game and a visual novel masterpiece. And by the end, I hope to expand and make sense as to why Corpse Party has not only stood the test of time, but remains an essential experience for both horror aficionados and visual novel enthusiasts alike. Corpse Party began as a modest RPG Maker game created by Makoto Kenduin in 1996. It was a testament to how independent projects, when infused with passion and creativity, can reach extraordinary heights. Initially released in Japan as a pixelated horror adventure, the game rapidly gained attention for its unique approach to storytelling and horror. Unlike traditional games that focus on primarily action or puzzles, Corpse Party was lauded for its narrative depth and eerie atmosphere, which were groundbreaking for an RPG Maker title at the time. The game struck a chord with players, earning a small but dedicated following that would later propel the franchise to greater heights. The journey from this humble beginning to a legendary series was a long but rewarding one. Over the years, Corpse Party was remade and re-released in various forms, each version enhancing the original while maintaining its core elements. Notable iterations include Corpse Party Blood Covered in 2008 and Corpse Party Blood Drive in 2014. These remakes offered graphical improvements, more detailed environments, and expanded storylines, making the game more accessible to a global audience. With each new release, Corpse Party maintained its dark, atmospheric roots, while embracing new technologies and platforms, allowing it to continually evolve without losing its essence. This evolution was not only a testament to the game's staying power, but also to the developers' understanding of what made Corpse Party so special. By expanding the lore and improving the mechanics, each new version introduced players to an even richer, more immersive experience. And despite the advancements, the game never lost its original charm. The simplicity of its RPG Maker origins, combined with the haunting atmosphere and intricate storytelling, ensured that Corpse Party remained a defining title in the horror visual novel genre. The narrative of Corpse Party is where the game truly shines, offering a harrowing yet intricately crafted story that sets it apart from other visual novels and horror games. The plot revolves around a group of high school students who are performing a seemingly innocent charm called Sachiko Ever After, which is intended to cement their friendship no matter where they are or how long time passes. However, this ritual goes horribly wrong and they find themselves trapped in an alternate dimension within the cursed Heavenly Host Elementary School. What follows is a descent into madness as the characters navigate the school's haunted corridors, uncover its horrific past, and struggle to survive. Corpse Party utilizes a non-linear storytelling approach with multiple possible endings that depend on the player's choices throughout the game. This branching narrative adds a layer of complexity and replayability as players are encouraged to explore different story paths and face the consequences of their decisions. The game does not shy away from showing the brutal fates that can befall the characters, many of whom meet gruesome or tragic ends. These alternate endings, known as wrong endings, serves as a reminder of the high stakes involved and force players to think carefully about every single choice they make. This narrative structure adds emotional weight to the experience, as players feel directly responsible for the characters' survival. Moreover, the emotional depth of Corpse Party is unparalleled. The game does an exceptional job of developing its characters, revealing their backstories, relationships, and fears in a way that makes their fates all the more poignant. The gradual unraveling of the school's dark history combined with the personal struggles of the characters creates a compelling and immersive story. This emotional investment heightens the horror, as players are not just witnessing the characters' suffering, but are also deeply connected to them. By the time the game's true horrors are revealed to the players and the characters themselves, the player is fully immersed, experiencing not just fear but also heartbreak and loss, which is rare in the horror genre, especially for its time. Creating an atmosphere of palpable dread is one of Corpse Party's greatest strengths. From the moment the game begins, it immerses players in an environment steeped in decay, death, and terror. Heavenly Host Elementary School is a place where death and despair linger in every corner, and the game's atmospheric design is key to making players feel truly trapped within its haunted walls. Despite the simple visuals of the early versions, the game's environments evoke a sense of claustrophobia and isolation, with dimly lit corridors, blood-stained floors, and remnants of the past scattered throughout the school. This attention to detail makes the environment itself feel like a character, alive with malicious intent. Sound design plays a crucial role in amplifying the game's atmosphere, turning it from a mere setting into a horrifying experience. Corpse Party employs minimalistic sound cues to great effect, using the silence of empty rooms and the sudden creak of a door to keep players on edge. The sound of distant footsteps or ghostly whispers echoing in the background adds an element of psychological terror, making players feel as though they are constantly being watched or pursued by things they cannot perceive or understand. Later versions of the game, particularly Corpse Party Blood Covered, took this a step further with the inclusion of binaural audio, which created an immersive 3D soundscape that heightened the tension. This innovative use of sound ensured that the players were always on high alert, enhancing the overall horror experience. Music in Corpse Party is equally sparse, but also heavily effective. The eerie, haunting melodies are strategically placed to punctuate key moments, creating a sense of foreboding before a major plot twist or intensifying the emotional impact of a character's death. The musical components of the visual and sound design never overwhelmed the player, but instead worked in harmony to build an immersive and unsettling atmosphere. Together, these elements created an experience that transcended the limitations of the game's visuals, making Corpse Party one of the most atmospheric and terrifying visual novels not only ever created, but one I have experienced myself. The horror of Corpse Party is not limited to its gruesome depictions of violence. The game excels at psychological horror, which is more unsettling than the physical gore. The fear in Corpse Party comes from both the supernatural and the psychological torment of the characters. Being trapped in an alternate dimension surrounded by the vengeful spirits of the dead and facing their emotional traumas takes a heavy toll on the characters' minds. This psychological decay is reflected in the game's atmosphere, where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blur. The game's ability to convey a sense of helplessness and hopelessness makes it one of the most disturbing entries in the horror genre. That said, Corpse Party does not shy away from explicit gore. The deaths in the game are brutal and often described in excruciatingly painful detail. The combination of pixelated graphics and graphic descriptions allow the players to imagine the worst, making the violence all the more horrifying. However, these moments of intense gore are balanced with periods of psychological horror, ensuring that the game never becomes a mere splatterfest. Instead, the gore serves to underscore the psychological toll that the characters endure, creating a more layered and disturbing horror experience. The game's balance of psychological horror and graphic violence makes it stand out within the visual novel genre. While many games rely on one or the other, Corpse Party expertly weaves both elements together to create a truly terrifying experience. The result is a game that is not only deeply disturbing on a surface level, but also deeply unsettling on an emotional and psychological level. By confronting players with both physical and emotional horror, Corpse Party ensures that the fear lingers long after the game is over, making it a haunting and unforgettable experience. At the heart of Corpse Party is its cast of well-developed and emotionally resonant characters. Each character is more than just a vessel for the plot, they are fully realized individuals with their own fears, desires, and motivations. This makes their journey through Heavenly Host Elementary all the more harrowing as players become emotionally invested in their survival. The game's writing does an excellent job of fleshing out each character's backstory, revealing their insecurities and inner demons as they face the horrors of the school. The depth of the characters in Corpse Party is one of the key reasons it's lasted so long. Characters like Satoshi Mitrida, Naomi Nakashima, and Ayumi Shinozaki are more than just archetypal figures found in many horror stories. They have distinct personalities, relationships, and growth that make them feel real and relatable. For instance, Satoshi is depicted as a kind-hearted, protective brother, but his inner conflicts, doubts, and vulnerabilities are exposed as the story progresses. Naomi, who initially comes across as strong-willed and independent, grapples with guilt, trauma, and the emotional strain of the horrors she witnesses. These layers of complexity not only drive the narrative forward, but also create an emotional stake for the player. When one of these characters is in danger, it is not only about survival, but also seeing them overcome their fears and inner turmoil. The interpersonal relationships between the characters are also crucial to the emotional resonance of the game. Friendships, romantic tensions, and sibling bonds are tested and strained by the horrors that unfold within Heavenly Host. For example, the relationship between Naomi and Saiko stand out as particularly poignant. The bond between the two friends is tragically severed in one of the most heart-wrenching moments of the game, leaving a lasting impact on Naomi and players alike. These moments of deep emotional connection make the game's inevitable losses even more painful, amplifying the sense of tragedy that pervades the story from beginning to end. The pacing of Corpse Party is another standout feature, contributing to its narrative tension and ability to maintain a high level of suspense throughout the experience. The game's structure allows for multiple characters across different chapters, which allows the story to unfold from various perspectives. By splitting the story into chapters, the game manages to keep the tension consistent as each new section introduces new horrors and revelations that deepen the mystery of Heavenly Host. This episodic structure allows for moments of quiet introspection and character development, ensuring that the game isn't just a relentless barrage of horror or gore. Each chapter builds on the previous one, carefully balancing moments of terror with slower, more emotionally driven scenes. This ebb and flow of pacing helps to prevent the horror from becoming overwhelming, while also allowing the player to fully absorb the story's emotional beats. The moments of reprieve between the horrifying encounters allow the characters to reflect on their experiences, further deepening their development as the emotional stakes go higher and more intense. And as the story progresses, these quieter moments become rarer, and as the horror ramps up, it leads to a crescendo of tension within the final chapters. This careful balance of pacing ensures that the horror remains impactful, never losing its edge or becoming predictable. Furthermore, the game's structure allows for non-linear storytelling with multiple possible endings based on the player's choices. This branching narrative added a layer of depth and complexity as well as replayability to the game, as players are encouraged to explore different paths and outcomes. The game's wrong endings offer chilling alternative conclusions, showcasing the consequences of the player's decisions in brutal detail. These divergent paths not only increase the tension, but also emphasize the stakes that are in the story, where every choice matters and one wrong move can lead to a horrifying and tragic fate for the characters. The combination of strong pacing, branching narratives, and emotional investments makes Corpse Party a deeply engaging experience that keeps players on edge until the very end. Corpse Party has cemented itself as a timeless staple within both the horror and visual novel genres, maintaining its legendary status through its rich storytelling, atmospheric tension, character-driven narratives, and emotional depth. The game's ability to transcend the limitations of its humble RPG Maker origins speaks to the power of its narrative and its immersive horror elements. By blending psychological terror with brutal gore and offering a deeply unsettling yet emotionally impactful experience, Corpse Party carved out a unique niche in the horror gaming world that continues to inspire and influence game creators and game players alike. The game's narrative complexity, non-linear storytelling, and strong character development elevated it beyond just a simple horror game. Each character's struggles feel personal, and the choices players make can carry a sense of real consequence, immersing them in a world where death is not just possible, but almost inevitable. The terror of Corpse Party lies in its ability to make players care deeply about the fates of these characters, enhancing the horror by adding emotional stakes to their gruesome, often heartbreaking ends. The game's atmosphere, enriched by minimalist sound design and haunting music, creates an environment where fear and dread permeate every moment, leaving a lasting impact on players. Even decades after its release, Corpse Party remains a must-play for fans of horror and visual novels alike. Its innovative approach to storytelling, expert use of atmosphere, and emotionally charged characters have made it a defining title in the genre. Whether experienced through its original version or one of its many remakes, Corpse Party continues to haunt the hearts and minds of those who dare to step into the cursed halls of Heavenly Host. Its enduring legacy is a testament to the game's brilliance and ensures that it will be remembered as one of the most iconic and influential visual novels in gaming history.
Oh, I track all my